In today's video, we'll be discussing about the books that you require in your third year BDS. Before I start with the video, I would like to give you a small disclaimer. These books are based on my personal suggestions given by my staffs, seniors, and friends from other colleges. Third year comprises of 3 subjects, that is general medicine, general surgery, and oral pathology, for which you will need a theory guide and a practical manual. Other than this, you will also require certain books for your clinical postings in your dental colleges, which I will suggest you in the end of this video. Starting with general medicine, you will require a theory guide and a practical manual. For theory book, I would suggest you to go with either Davidson or General Medicine for Dental Students by Anil K. Tripathi. Talking about Davidson is the book that MBBS students basically use. It has all the topics in depth, and this is the gold standard book that everyone will suggest you. But you will need time and patience to study this book, and if you're planning to crack NEET and if you want to start from now on, I would suggest you to go with this book because this is where the questions come from. Or if you need an easier option, I would suggest you to go with General Medicine for Dental Students by Anil K. Tripathi. This is the book that I personally used and my classmates and my seniors used to use. So this book has all the topics in nutshell, and it has tabular columns for signs, symptoms, causes and treatment, which makes understanding and revision easier. For practical manual, I would suggest you to either choose Alagappan's practical manual or Manipal's practical manual. I personally used Alagappan practical manual. It had all the topics in depth, and it was also easier to understand and easier to reciprocate in the exam. But certain staffs from my college used to suggest Manipal since it had all the topics in nutshell and it was easier to understand that book too. But I personally used this book, Alagappan, and I would suggest you to use this book over Manipal. For general surgery, again you will need a theory book and a practical manual. For theory book, I would suggest you to go with either SRB's Surgery for Dental Students or Manipal's Manual of General Surgery for Dental Students. Both of these books have similar contents and has all the contents that you require for your exams. My personal suggestion would be to have one hard copy of one book and a soft copy of another book. So it is easy to refer both the books, and if there is less content in one book, you can refer the other book. For practical manual, I would suggest you to go with Clinical DAS. Clinical DAS is the Bible of general surgery, and all the students, say MBBS or BDS, everyone uses it. The book is very easy to understand, and most of the viva is asked from this book. If you ask me for other easier options, I would tell you to go with Short Case and Long Case by R. Raj Mahendran. It is an easier alternative, but I would suggest you to stick on to Clinical DAS as it is easier for your clinical postings and in exam point of view also. For oral pathology theory book, my suggestion, not only my suggestion, everyone's suggestion will be Schaefer's textbook of oral pathology. It's because in UG and in PG level, we will always have this one book in hand, and this is the gold standard book that all the staffs and students will suggest you. But students will always have an eye on easier options. For that, I would suggest you to go with Purkite's textbook of oral pathology, which has all the contents in nutshell for exam point of view. But always have an habit of reading information from the gold standard book, as it helps you now and also in your future. For practical manual, my suggestion would be Manual of Oral Histology and Pathology by Maji Juice. This is basically a color atlas which has both the microscopic representation and the diagrammatic representation of the same, which your Schaefer book does not have. This helps you during drawing diagrams in your record and also studying for your practical exams. It also has the key features of each specimen. Other than these books, you will also be asked to buy certain final year books in your third year itself. It depends upon your college and your department. These books are used in your clinical posting. So, most of the colleges ask you to buy a radiology book, a local anesthesia book, a medical emergency book, and a public health registry book. Other books depends upon your college. So, for radiology, I would suggest you to go with White and Farrow's textbook of oral radiology. And for local anesthesia, I would suggest you to go with Handbook of Local Anesthesia by Stanley F. Malamed. And for medical emergency, I would suggest you to go for A Medical Emergency in Dental Office by Stanley F. Malamed. And finally, for public health dentistry, I would suggest you to go with Essentials of Public Health Dentistry by Shobhan Peter. Detailed review of these books will be posted in my upcoming videos. Finally, starting from this year, you will start seeing patients. There are certain things that you should carry before you enter your clinical wards. I would suggest you to have these 4 things. One is stethoscope, a thermometer, a torchlight, and an inch tape. That's it for today's video. If you have certain books that you want to suggest, please comment them below. If you like the video, don't forget to give a thumbs up and share this video to your friends. And if you want more content, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to get notified.